Hello friends, I'm Nick Jovanovich with Into Fly Fishing, and this is my field-tested Lamson Remix Fly Reel review. I've been fly fishing for almost 35 years and been a professional guide for the last 15. I've seen and fished with a lot of different reels over the years, and guiding in and of itself really gives me a front row seat to see and witness how other people use the same equipment that I do. Not only that, but you get to witness a whole lot of use and a whole lot of abuse in a short period of time. We're on the water a lot. You see other people handling your equipment, and they tend to use it and abuse it a little bit more than you would your own gear. So I get to see how it stands up over the years against that use and abuse. So I hope you like this video, and don't forget to check out some of our other videos, including the best budget fly reels, which you'll find a link for in the description below.
If you're looking at the Lamson Remix, you've probably already scoped other reels like the Redington Rise, maybe the Sage Spectrum C, and the TFO NTR reel would be kind of a comparable reel in this category as well. But let me go ahead and show you the features of this Lamson Remix to help aid in your decision. But before we continue, it'd be really awesome if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel. It does cost us a lot of money to buy all the gear we review on this channel. We buy it ourselves to bring these reviews to you. If you can hit like on this video and subscribe to the channel, it'd be a huge help. Also, links for ordering these fly reels can be found in the description. Those links help us out and help us keep doing this. Thanks for your support.
Now, a little bit about how we tested these reels. The Lamson website itself has a list of basic measurements and weights for these reels. Of course, nothing really that in depth. So what we wanted to do is we measured at home, did a little weight test, a little measuring to confirm what the Lamson website has said. The particular reel that I'm using right here is what Lamson calls the -5 plus. Now what that means is this -5 plus is a conducive for a 4-weight, 5-weight, or a 6-weight line, which I'm guessing is why they call it 5- and plus. This is not the HD version of the Remix reel, by the way, not the heavy duty version. This is the standard Remix reel. Like I said, this has been water tested for about 3 years. I've used this reel a lot. Clients have used this reel a lot. This thing has seen a lot of use on the water. Drag pulls, we did a lot of dry drag pull tests on this thing too. We've gone from 0 drag all the way up to full drag. Did line pull tests with our hands. Tied it to something and pulled off, and of course we've done a whole bunch of fishing with this reel. So we've caught fish from about this big till about this big, and really got a good feel for what the drag can do on this particular reel. Now getting into the construction and the components of the reel itself. For that, let me slide this one over here, and let's pop this new box open here, okay? Lamson Waterworks Remix reel. Open it up, and it comes in this little sleeve, I guess I would call it. Open that up and pull the reel out. Now, a note on this thing, this is not an expensive reel from Lamson, but honestly, for the price of the reel, if you ask me, I think I would want something a little bit heavier duty than this. I like the old school reel caddies that usually come with these brand new reels. That way I can put the reel on the fly rod and then slide this up, and usually it has a Velcro closure over the top, and it kind of keeps your rod or your reel from banging around in storage and transport. Not a huge fan of this little bag, but at least when you're storing it, it does give a little bit of protection. The reel itself is going to be a large arbor reel, and what I'm going to do here, I'm going to pop this off and just show you what the spool itself looks like. Lamson reels are really easy to disassemble, because all I'm going to do is I'm going to take and hold the frame with my fingers like this on the back side of the reel, use my thumbs to push down, and remove the spool. It's simple as that. Just clicks into place, pops out of place, okay? So there is that spool right here. We got a fairly large diameter arbor, like I said, and what I like about this one here, we've got a deep V groove on the spool itself, and this V shape does really a nice job. As you're retrieving line, it really brings it in and stacks it nicely. It keeps it nice and neat inside the spool here for storage, or when you're pulling line off, it tends not to get dug. You don't get higher layers of line pushed down underneath the lower layers of line, which can cause a whole bunch of problems. Now, the arbor itself, like I was saying, they call it a large arbor. reel. I have seen larger, of course. So this one I would still call large, but not huge. And also the width here. The width of this thing is a medium width. Now, what's kind of special and unique about this Lamson Remix Reel, it's an apropos name, by the way, is there's a hybrid construction going on here. So if we're looking at the housing of the reel itself here, this is a bar stock machined casing. It's real slick. It's got a real hard coating on it. It's going to be very, very rigid, structurally sound, and it takes some abuse. You know, you will get some scrapes and some scratches after years and years of use, but it is a pretty hard coating and it really lasts very well. Now, if we're talking about the spool, we have a completely different material now. We have a pressure cast spool. It's got a nice rounded shape to all the spokes in this thing, but this is a cast. So like I said, this one is machined, the frame itself, but the spool is a cast spool. What that does is it's going to save a little bit of money. This is not as expensive to make, cheaper materials, cheaper process, but the cool thing about this is that this spool itself is not only compatible with the Remix reel, but you can pop this spool off and put it right on into one of the Lamson Waterworks liquid reels. So you can kind of cross use those spools like that. Kind of an interesting thing. Now, a little bit about weights regarding this reel. The reel itself, of course, when all put together without line on this Remix, comes in at 4.54 ounces. Now, if you want to compare that to the aforementioned, say, the Sage Spectrum C, that same 5-6 weight range on the Spectrum C is going to weigh almost 5 ounces. The TFO NTR in a similar line weight range is going to weigh in at about 5.8 ounces or even a little bit more. So those reels are going to be slightly heavier, and I believe what you're seeing there is the weight savings from this lightweight machined casing on the Remix itself. Now this we've got lined up, fully lined up. We've got 100 yards of backing on this, and we've got some Scientific Anglers 5-weight line. The entire setup here with the line and the reel altogether weighs in right at 6 ounces. So that's really, it's not the lightest that I've seen, but it is on the lower end of mid. And the overall balance and feel with this setup on the end of all the rods that I've ever fished with, those are various Winston and Scott rods. Winston feeling a little lighter on the hand. Usually the Scott is somewhat more stiff, powerful backbone, and a little bit more rigid. Really nice balance on any of the rods that I've really had a lot of experience using this reel with.
Now it's time to talk about that drag system on this Lamson Remix reel. Lamson, throughout their line, uses an exclusive conical shaped Teflon and Delrin composite drag. This drag is fantastic. It's more than strong enough for trout, bass, even pike, muskie. I'll use it on steelhead and in light saltwater, 7 and 8 weight range as well. And I feel completely confident in the stopping power of all these reels. Pulling power, let's go ahead and look at that dial here. Of course, you can dial it way back and really get it nice and light, or you can dial it forward if you got to torque down on a fish that's just making some big, fast runs, and slow that fish down. The smoothness of this drag is fantastic. There's never a spot that feels like it gives or pinches any more than another. It's just very smooth throughout. Startup to inertia, very smooth and even. From the moment you start pulling line or a fish starts pulling line off the reel, all the way through the entire run that fish might make, just a very consistent, smooth, even feeling drag. Of course, we could pop this open again and take a look on the inside. And we won't be able to see the drag itself because it's inside this housing here. So it's a fully sealed drag system, which is, of course, a big, big deal. It keeps saltwater corrosion out of there. That salt will get in there on a non-sealed drag and start eating away the metal on your drag system. Fully sealed, dirt and debris, not a problem on this beautiful Lamson fully sealed conical drag system.
Regarding the sound of this reel, it's not too loud, not super quiet either, but it's a really pleasant sound. I know some folks really want to hear that sound of the reel, the fast clicks and reeling in. They want to hear that reel scream as the fish is really pulling line out as well. Let's do a little pull test here, see if we can hear this. Pretty standard pleasant sound. Like I said, not too loud, not too quiet. And then on the reel, very similar, okay? The sound on these reels here is basically, it's an arbitrary system. A lot of old reels were different than this, but this one has this little plastic clip right here. I hope you can see that a little bit. Right there. And there's a little plastic gear right here that thing clicks on. On my older Lamson reels, I've used them so much that this little tab here has broken off completely. My reel has zero sound, and it works totally fine. The drag system, that has nothing to do with the drag system. It's just so it gets that classic clicking sound when you're reeling and a fish is running and pulling line off. That's all it's for. So you can actually break that off right away if you want to, if you're one that likes a little bit more stealth and doesn't really want your reel kind of singing as you're pulling line off, stalking really subtly feeding trout. That is an option for you. This reel comes in 4 size options, and as I mentioned before, this is the minus plus 5. That minus plus just means that it is a 4, 5, and 6 weight reel. It comes in a minus 3 plus, a minus 5 plus, a minus 7 plus, and also a minus 9 plus. Of course, that minus 3, same thing, means that covers a 2, 3, and 4 weight reel, line for smaller fish. Notice the overlap in sizes. That minus 3 is 2, 3, 4. That minus 5, this one here, is a 4, 5, 6. So that gives you an option, that little overlap. If you're, say, fishing a 4 weight and you like a smaller reel, something lighter weight, a little bit more out of the way, go for that minus 3. If you want something that's a little bit bigger, you like a little bit more weight, because let's be honest, weight on the back end of your fly reel isn't always a bad thing. There is a personal preference, but just because the reel is a little heavier on the butt section of your fly rod, it's not a game changer. It actually has to do, that kind of counterbalances the push and pull of the tip of the rod a little bit. So again, it's a personal preference. But if you step up to that bigger size, then what you're going to get is a bigger arbor for that line, and that's going to give you a bigger, faster pickup on the line on the reel. So the overall thought on this reel is pretty positive. Well, like I said, I've fished this one for years, and it continues to perform and perform again. Beginners are really going to like this reel. If you are a beginner and you are willing to spend just a little bit more money to get a better reel than a lot of those entry-level reels, I think you'll be happy with this one for a really, really long time. This is great for intermediate anglers as well. Those intermediate anglers that are kind of looking for that place where value and performance intersect, I would steer you toward the Remix reel. I think you're really going to like that one too. It's great for guides. Of course, like I said, I've been guiding for a long time. We go through a lot of reels. We have a lot of people that really use and abuse our stuff. The clients tend not to take as much care of our equipment as we would take as we would care for our own. Get a lot of boat drops. Something happens and somebody drops that rod down, bang, in the bottom of the boat, dropped on rocks. It's stepped on. So it can take a lot of abuse too. And so if you don't want to take your real high-end reels, something you're spending, $400, $500, $600 on, and put those on a client reel, I think this is actually a really, really good option. I think that the look, the design, the feel on this reel is a little bit better than some of the similar or comparable reels that you'll find out there, especially knowing that it's a combination of the machine and cast. It just gives you kind of a sleek look. You get the best of both worlds. You get the performance and the protection of that harder outer frame, and the cost savings of that slightly less expensive spool material, which is totally great. Again, I'm just a big fan of the sealed drags on these things. You don't have to spend a whole ton of money to get a really great drag, and these Lamson reels have just continued to perform for me throughout the years. I can't think of a better trout rod or a trout reel. If you don't want to go spend a ton of money on a hatch, and you don't want to go to Amazon and get one of those lower end rods that you don't really know much about the company or how long they're going to last, I direct people to Lamson all the time. I use them myself, And again, especially for those groups of people, those beginners, intermediates, and guides, somebody who wants performance and save a little bit of money, this Remix Reel is really something that I would encourage you to check out. It's a local Idaho company. I'm here in Idaho, and I like to support them as well. They're not paying me anything for this. I just am a fan of what they do. So there you go. I hope you found this informative, and check for more reviews and videos here on the Into Fly Fishing YouTube channel.